We are friends, more like sisters.
Sister, help me! Helen, help me! Helen, help, please!
From the age of 5, we've been like twins. We will do anything for our friendship.
Why go to jail for her? She wouldn't do the same for you.
Fred Richani, we have right here on the line a very special guest. He's the writer, producer of the film you just checked out in the trailer, Friends Like Sisters, coming very soon to tubi and all major streaming platforms. We are honored to be joined by the award-winning playwright, writer, producer, you name it, he's done it, Kehinde Odunowo. Kenny, thanks so much for taking the time to do this in busy Atlanta. How's everything going?
Oh, well, I'm doing good. I'm blessed, and I'm honored to be on your platform. I mean, there's a whole lot, like we said earlier. While we were talking, there's a whole lot happening here in Atlanta, and you just have to get in the mix. There's no later time to do it. Now is the time, and we have to touch the world with these messages that we have.
Wow, there's a lot of drama. It looks like a little bit of a thriller as well. There's certainly some gratuitous violence here and there. It's got a little bit of everything. Without giving too much away about the film, how'd you come up with this concept, and why, after writing, directing over 800 plays, did you decide, you know what, this is the time to finally make a feature film?
Oh yes, I mean that's a question that I cannot unravel all at once, because you see, when it comes to making movies, I've started with making plays. I did almost, like I told you earlier while we were discussing. I said I've done almost about 800 stage plays. I started with doing stage plays, and for me, a lot of people go into art for different reasons. Some just for the entertainment purpose, but for me, it transcends beyond that. For me, it's about the message. I actually want to say a whole lot to my generation, because I believe that with this life that I have to use every second of it. So I started out with the plays, and I enjoy, putting this plays together, watching people laugh and all that. But I enjoy dishing out the messages to them through this plays. I did that for almost about 15, 20 years. But after a while, I sat and I said, well, instead of doing these plays and, just, have people come together at once, you have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people gather at once, and that's the most you can do with the plays. Why don't you put all of these plays into movies? And then while you're sleeping, people are watching your movies. And even when we leave this world, people are still watching the films. And I thought, wow, I mean, this would be much better. So I decided to take that route, and I started, making movies. So for me, Friends Like Sisters is one of my films. And what inspired that the movie was, one day I was sitting and I said, wow, to think about life, there are two alphabets, that are all in a journey against each other, and that's alphabet B and alphabet D. These two alphabets are, and B represents when we were born, and D represents when we're gonna die. So between our birth and our death, there's one alphabet in between, which is also C. C stands for our choices. And then I looked, I said, so in other words, life is all about the choices that we make as human beings, and then what is the most important choice that we as human beings can make? Then I was pondering again. I said, it's the choice of friends that we choose to associate ourselves with, because our friends can either make us or mar us. Our friends can either be a blessing to us or be a curse to us. Our friends can either give us life or bring death. So, depending on, with the choices of friends that we choose to have can either make us rich or poor. So it's always all our choice, it's left to us. But then a lot of people say, oh, this is my friend, that is my friend, this is my friend. I have a lot of friends, but it's not about the quantity, but it's about the quality. Do we take out our time to really, examine the quality of these people, their loyalty? Do we really put them through tests before choosing them or selecting them as our friends? So for me, I said, let me make a movie to really sensitize people, because a lot of people just, are friends, but then these friends that we bring into our lives, can bring us, very fatal consequences. So I said, let me make a movie, to preach this message and send it out to people, as much as I can, because I realized that life, the unit of measuring life is a time. And the life of a man is broken down into three phases: the morning, the afternoon, and the night. That's why we call it man, M-A-N. M for morning, A for afternoon, N for night. And there are some mistakes that when we make it in the morning, we're never going to discover until it's afternoon. There are some mistakes that we as human beings can make, or, people can lead us into. And then once we fall into it, we're not going to discover it until it's night and time is up. And so I said, no, no, no. The most important decision or choice that we can make as human beings is our friendship, choice of friends that we have. So I said, let me make how I'm gonna do what I'm gonna say and make a message, make a movie rather, about friendship. And this movie, it really has so many messages, attached in so many words of wisdom, so many. It's not just interesting, it's a whole lot packed in one single movie. So I'm really excited about this film, and I cannot wait for the world to actually enjoy what it is that we're enjoying. We're watching it, we're enjoying it. All the actors are enthusiastic about it, and I can't wait to have the world eat from our table.
What
Yeah.
was the casting process and the overall logistics of Friends Like Sisters? Did you have a lot of headaches, or did it get a little bit better over time?
Oh yes, I would say that when it came to the casting of the movie, I would say that I actually went through a whole lot, in selecting the cast. But as soon as I was done with the casting phase, it was such a smooth ride for me, because I cannot receive 100% credit for this film. The actors I have working with me, the team, the director, the my production assistant, my PA, and so many other people who worked with me. They made the journey so smooth for me. But I must really say that the actors are wonderful. Those set of actors, they are the best team anyone can ever pray for, because selecting them at first, of course, like you said earlier, the whole COVID restriction, and all that, it made the whole audition period much more difficult compared to what you usually have. But I would say that my experience with theater and stage plays really helped me, because I can really look at someone, for example, and tell you 5 roles that I'm sure you can play comfortably. And when I say this person is probably going to be good for this person, but I'm like, but I've not auditioned yet. But I'm like, okay, but I can tell that you and you will be most likely able to do this. So I think that's one of the gifts I have. I think reading people and psychology and all that. So I was able to put this cast together, and of course with the help of God, because so getting the cast together, was like the first order. But as soon as I jumped over that, the next phase was so smooth. These guys, I can't overemphasize it. These actors are wonderful. On and on and on. I had them doing night rehearsals, ensuring that, I'm like, there's like, oh, 3 of us, we had a rehearsal last night, and we were just, working on our script, and, they worked day and night. And then when we got to the filming phase, oh Lord, these guys are so wonderful, because they didn't, they made it so easy for me, so smooth for me. I would say they're drama free, 100% drama free. There are some actors who are gonna wait till the middle of the production and then tell you, you see what happened was, and you're like, what? Are you supposed to, so these guys are so good, and they made it so easy. And also, I also see the desire for for a greater height in them. They had the passion for success in them. It's easy to bring a horse to the river, but you can't make the horse drink the water. You see, so these guys originally have the passion, for excellence in them, passion for success in them. So it was just like when you bring petrol next to fire, what are you going to have? An explosion. So, so I didn't have to do so much. They made it really easy for me, and I'm really excited working with them. And I still look forward to doing so much more with this same team. It's just so difficult for me to think of another movie concept without this same, actors, we're like a family right now. So, it's a great time.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's always turned out to be a blessing to have everybody still buttoned up.
Yes, and even after the movie has been done, you still see these guys all in a group chat and all that, saying, "Hey, how you doing?" When it's one person's birthday, they're gonna be like, hit up, and then one person's gonna say, "Wait a minute, we like a family now." Another person gonna say, "Wait a minute, I think we're like a family." Another person gonna say, "The way we are, we're like a family." I'm like, that's what it is, because in a way, it does more like, we don't just, connect on a professional level, but we also, have a relationship whereby, once in a while we check on each other, and share our struggles, share our happiness, share our laughter, and all. And then when it comes to work, we keep it 100% professional. So I love this team, and I'm excited, what we're doing in Atlanta here.
Now, I want to take it back in the day, though, because
Yeah,
Kenny wasn't always a filmmaker, right? Young Kenny wasn't always a playwright. How
Oh,
did you get
yes.
into this whole world of performing arts and creating film and creating plays and everything? Was it something you aspired to do, or did the art kind of find you?
For me, it started with one Sunday. I was because I have a background. I've always been a church person and a religious person, said to say. So one day I was in church and I came late as usual. I didn't really take faith so seriously when I was much younger, but I was a Christian. So I went to church that day, and then pastor of the church was like, you see this brother sitting at the back. I want you to join the drama group and let's see what you got. You could, join the drama team and in every Sunday, come put up some plays and things like that. I was like, oh wow, I'm not gonna do that. I mean, in church, do drama, but then after a little while, I started considering it could be fun. Then I did it the first Sunday, and whoa. I was like, whoa, everybody was like, oh no, this is so good. And look at how well you've done this. I was like, oh, really? And then I took a time to pause and sit and say, oh, wow. So if I can actually do something this powerful to, touch someone's life, and then weeks after weeks, they're still talking about it. I'm like, okay, let me do another one. Then the second one, it was even better. Then the third one was even more better. And the next one was great. I was like, okay, no, then let me, so I started doing that, and we started doing tours. We traveled all around, then I met the vice president of Nigeria. It was a great time, So yeah, I mean, yeah. So on and on, So from there, I just continued doing the plays, and from there, I discovered it just kept taking me higher and higher, and I'm like, okay, sometimes you're wondering what your part is, what your purpose is, but sometimes, where your demand is, that's where your calling is. So I decided to keep journeying in that path, and I find so much fulfillment doing this because I look at the world today and I see a void that I can feel. There are a lot of people who make movies just for making movies because they have a camera. Some people make movies, just because they want to, just because they want to entertain, and then you see their movies have a lot of nudity, and they say, okay, what can we do to get the people's attention? Okay, let's show some nudity, let's show some, and they just do all kind of things, trying to get, people's attention. So it's more like trial by error for them, but for me, I do not believe in chasing the butterflies. Rather, I believe in making my garden beautiful and let the butterflies come. So I believe so much in dishing out these messages. Giving people really good content, and I believe that if I continue to do what I'm doing, the sky is going to be the stepping stone. So I'm really excited at what we're doing, and I cannot wait to throw out my biggest punch.
Yeah, you're a fun guy, man. I'm talking to you and everything, and you just casually drop that, like, oh yeah, and also met the vice president of Nigeria. I started off a little kitchen, and then I invite the vice president. How did that happen? Did you grow up in Nigeria? Did you meet him later in life? How'd that go?
Oh yes, I actually grew up in Nigeria, and it was one show I went to some time ago, and a man walked up to me, myself and my twin brother. We used to do play together and all that, and then someone walked up to us after the play and was like, please. Can I have your contact? I was like, okay. I just gave him my card, and that was it. I didn't even know he was a big person in the government. And one day he just called us. Well, he just called us and was like, "Oh, please, can you guys come down? To the villa. What we call the villa is more like the White House. So can we have you guys in the villa, the presidential villa?" I was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Okay, fine, very well." We had a show that weekend, but we had to, we just canceled it and boom. Went straight to the presidential villa there, and the stage they play. It was a great time. I have the photographs and all that. It was a great time with the vice president. And yeah, and happy birthday to him. A few 3 days ago was his birthday, so happy birthday to His Excellency if he gets to see this. Yes.
So what led you to Atlanta specifically? I know it's become a huge media hub over these last 15, 20 years or so, but a lot of times you still see a lot of people at first, maybe go to New York, maybe go to LA. Some people have been going to Vancouver. What for you roasted out to make Atlanta your home?
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta is where everything is happening. Way back in Nigeria, I've always been in an environment where in an environment that is slightly busy, but also has the element of tranquility. And because as a writer, you want an environment where you can think and you can create. You cannot create when when everything is really noisy and loud. I think for me, let me not generalize now. For me, so I've always liked the environment that has a little bit of that, urban gentrification, and of course the calmness, and also, I mean, so it was a good balance. And and of course I have my family here, and so it's a great time, and I'm really having fun, doing what I'm doing.
When would you say you really got to the point where you realized, okay, like I can make a living doing this?
To be honest, I really wouldn't want to say it's the numbers. It's the because my motivation is way beyond the money. You know, uh, Even before we started making money from this, I've been into it, and it fuels something inside of me. There's something called having something feed you, and you feeding what feeds you. Myself and playwriting and movies is it's just like me and my baby. It gives me life. It's something I look at and makes me happy. I've always had this in my heart and in my spirit and my soul. And if there's one thing I want to be known for when I leave this world, I think is making these movies. Telling these stories, giving people me, and I think this is me. There are so many other, there's nothing else I've looked at in life that gives me that happiness, that real joy, like making these movies. And I wouldn't just make any kind of movie, because I believe that if I want to take 2 hours of your time, it has to be the best 2 hours that you've ever had.
Mm.
If I want to take an hour, 30 minutes of your time, you've got to be able to look back and say, "Oh no, I met this person, and I was really inspired by this movie that I saw." I wouldn't just put up a 2 hours movie and then it's just gonna be just comedy, I mean, much respect to no disrespect to people who would make comedy. I mean, I believe that can be their own calling. But for me, I believe I have too much to say, too much to say, too much. When you see Friends Like Sisters, you're gonna see a movie that touched the element of friendship, but it also touched so many different areas of life, because I believe I have too much to say, that I just have to scramble it all in one movie. So that's so I mean, so that's really my biggest inspiration. Touching lives, changing lives, being an inspiration to someone. I want someone to really see this movie and say, "Oh no, now I was blind, now I see." "Oh, I was wrong, now I have it right." "Oh no, no, no." So people can really say, "Oh no, that means I can actually examine, the loyalty. I can reassess my relationships, because so much I believe that the life of a man is like David and Goliath. We all have our Goliath that stands very strong and tall, that faces us, that challenges us. But then, do we also know that our friends are like the five smooth stones that David selected, and before he confronted Goliath. So this is really what I want to say with this movie. I believe so, because I remember some time ago I had this friend who was always getting into trouble, always getting into trouble before I met him. And when I became his friend, and then one day he was about getting into trouble with someone. I was trying to mediate and all that. It happened the first time, the second time, the third time, and one day he was challenging one bodybuilder, and the guy looking so big and 6 foot, and then I was like, "Dude, you cannot fight this guy. Now, if you start to fight this guy, I'm gonna be the one to get into trouble." I said, "No, I'm not gonna be your friend no more." So I was much younger then, but so what I'm trying to say in essence is that, if you have five wise friends, then you are the sixth wise friend. But if you have five foolish friends, I promise you, you are the sixth foolish friend. So we are a product of our relationships, and this is what I want to say, with this film.
So well said. I love that. I love that story. And hey, yeah, you probably saved their life too. So that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm happy I was able to make it out of that relationship with my head alive.
Yeah. Hey, you survived
My
too.
head with me.
Well, I'm Kenny. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm glad we survived this interview. I'm glad you survived this interview. I'm sure you've been doing a lot of media lately. We
Oh
sincerely
yeah.
appreciate your time. It's been so fun.
Oh
Before we
yeah.
let you go, obviously we know with Friends Like Sisters coming soon to Tubi, coming soon to Amazon Prime and all other major streaming platforms. Of course, at the time we're recording this, it'll be available in some select theaters as well. Beyond
Absolutely.
that, where can we find you online, and what's next for you? Anything you're allowed to talk about?
You can find me on all social media platforms with Kenny OD, Kenny space OD, Kenny OD, and of course IMDb. I have a professional account on IMDb, and that's also Kenny OD as well. On all platforms, you're gonna get me on Kenny OD, and of course, this movie is out and it's coming out really strong. You're gonna see it on Tubi TV and see it, all over the place and media outfits and all that. And of course, my next movie is, I promise you, is gonna be so great. Watch out for it. The Bitter Sugar. That's the title of the film. It's gonna be really, really, really powerful. Please watch out for this movies, and I bet you it's gonna change your life.